and everything.
They're all done, guys. They're just sitting.
Everybody's laughing, all the little kids and all the big kids, and if you see the camera jerking back and forth, you know Calvin's laughing too. I know where we are. We're in Ellenburg at Northern Adirondack Central School on the 21st day of May 2009. It's going to be almost 90 degrees, the most beautiful day of the spring, and we're here for the Future Farmers of America. Wonderful days that they have every year in Ellenburg, the only agricultural program left in Clinton County, and we're here to celebrate the out of doors and agriculture with these young people today. We hope to interview Don Jones and a lot of the kids. Maybe we'll even get our face painted. And then again, maybe not. But I got my head through the hole here just because it's fun to do fun things, isn't it? I love it. You guys having a good time today?
Yeah.
It feels like summertime.
Oh yeah, except for school.
Except for school. And we can't go.
But school is great.
School is great.
Is he recording?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
He's got a real tape inside that camera. And you're on television. What a great day. I'm going to pull my head out. If you hear a scream and see some blood, you'll know I cut my ears off.
Okay.
You know, Calvin, it pleases me to do programs like this because it does salute our youth, and it also salutes agriculture, which is the heart and soul of this rural part of the North Country that we live in. And for some years now, this program has been the only agricultural program in the county. We talked to a guy who impersonates Abe Lincoln the other day during the Civil War reenactment, and he had done an ag thing like Don Jones does here, and it says his county doesn't do ag anymore. So I would imagine it's getting rarer and rarer. What do you think?
We know darn well it's getting awfully rare, and it's been quite a while since anybody other than NAC in Clinton County has had an agricultural program. For a while they were, I don't think they're doing it anymore, but for a while the students from Northeastern and Shazy were coming up here and were eligible to take their ag program. That lasted, I believe, just a few years. And as far as I know, Chateauguay is doing it, and probably some other nearby area. Maybe this guy here might know something about it.
Hey, how are you, Don? Good to see you.
Well, I guess I got the job.
I guess you got the job.
I guess I got the job.
And I guess it's warm out because you're sweating already today.
Yeah, a little bit. I got enough insulation I can hibernate, so it's okay.
So you're settled in. You've been here, what, a year now?
Just about a year, yeah. We got a lot of things going on, and this is my first time at the rodeo, so we'll see how it goes.
I think it's just terrific. We keep coming back. Calvin and I were just talking about the fact that there aren't very many ag programs left in New York State, are there?
There's not. Well, actually, there's quite a few, but they're spread out so far. It used to be every home school had an ag program, and then they kind of got phased out for a while, budget cuts and things like that. National FFA is on a big initiative to get them back. And they've got money available for that. We are the only one in Clinton County.
Yeah.
There's a few over in Franklin and around, but this is the only one in Clinton County.
You don't have any other schools that send students over here for your program anymore?
Not yet. We'll work on that. I'm going to be talking to Homer about that because he's the one that kind of started that program. But we're going to be offering college credits next year.
No kidding.
Yeah, if all goes well, we're going to be working with Paul Smiths and offering college credit in forestry. So we're going to spread it out a little bit and diversify, and, reinforce the program.
Last time we talked to you, you weren't the teacher here.
I was the applicant, and was just kind of seeing what was going on, and I'm glad I did because it definitely helped. But it's a little insane today. It's very good though.
I like insanity when it's fun insanity, especially on a beautiful day like today. It's better than thunderstorms.
Oh yeah.
And 30-degree temperatures.
For the past month, we've been trying to look in the Farmer's Almanac, and but we lucked out very, very much.
You know, for many of the people who are watching this program, some of them for the first time, because we're now on the internet at Plattsburgh.com.
Oh, nice.
So people can see us all over the place, even in Saranac Lake,
Oh,
where
nice.
you used to be.
Yep.
And by the way, they're not doing much up there, are they, by way of public access anymore?
As far as I know, no. What they've done is they've taken it back, and it's more of a, from what I understand, it's a sports kind of channel. But what they're doing is just taking pictures and playing them back, and I'm not sure what exactly is going on.
Not extensive like it used to be when you were up there. But what I started to say was, Don, many people have no idea what an ag program like this is. Explain to people what you do and what the program means.
Well, it used to be just about farming and cows and chickens and plows, but it's gone so far beyond that. In all reality, FFA doesn't stand for Future Farmers anymore. It's just FFA, and because it's genetics, it's botany, it's science, it's engineering, it's mechanical sciences, it's tractors, it's everything's kind of interrelated. That's so far beyond just the fields. Natural resources is a form of FFA and where it's going, and the green initiative with all the biofuels and sustainability, that all falls under agriculture as well in the grand scheme of things. If you're treating it like a crop, like a tree, it's just you don't harvest it a couple times a year. It's just you got a longer life cycle, but you still have to manage it and know what you're doing. There's a lot more science that goes into it to make sure you're profitable. There's a lot of business that goes into it, just like any other business. If you're not making money, you're not in business. So we try to highlight all of those things.
Now, do you teach classes every day? How does it work? How does the program work?
We have just a class period like every other class. Right now we have 5 classes and then a bunch of independent studies. We have one middle school class where they have like an exploratory to agriculture. They learn about careers, they learn about the other classes, they learn about opportunities. We have an ag mechanics class where they built that grill over there, one of the kids in welding. People bring in lawnmowers, they just want fixed, and sometimes we fix them, and sometimes we get them a bill and they're like, nope, sorry. But sometimes it's more expensive to fix it than it is to build a new one or just to buy a new one.
Isn't that amazing?
And when MTD bought out Troy-Bilt, because they can mass produce them so much faster, but it's just a sign of the times. If it's just the way it works. So.
Apparently, the kids love the program.
I hope so. Looking at the numbers for next year, roughly, they look like all the classes are full. The program's very strong. I've got kids coming down every period to see if they can get out of their study halls. So it's nice. So there's a few people that they're always here, and they're very, very dedicated. We have a very strong officer team. The parental support's amazing. The alumni council is great, and the alumni council is more than just people that graduated through the program. It's open to anybody that wants to support it. And that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. They know how to run this stuff. Luckily, I have them as a resource, because if I were to put this all together on my own, it just wouldn't happen.
A lot of the people who take your program, or at least some of them, don't even live on farms, right?
No, it's a very small population now. Around here we have a few, more than normal, but it's just people that want to know, more about where their food comes from. They care about animals. They want to know about science. They want to make a difference. And I've got Abigail Spinner. She wants to go on to be a veterinarian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's very good. She wanted that before I was even here, so that's not my credit. That's Mr. Bushy and everybody else that was here way before me. But Dr. Palmer agreed to take her as an intern and all that stuff. So it's very good. And it's that local connection that you have to have one of these programs work.
Do you counsel some of these kids about where they might want to go to school? Now somebody wants to go for veterinary medicine. A lot of kids might want to go to Cornell.
There's some that want to go to an ag school. There's some that want to go to forestry. There's some that want to do surveying. With this big push with the stimulus package, there's going to be a lot of building projects going up. So the first thing you got to do is survey the land, survey the boundaries and all that stuff. So there's going to be a big demand for surveyors and construction, and we went to Paul Smith's last week to go check the college out. And,
Did you really?
yeah, it was great.
That's quite a facility. We love it up there.
Yeah, it's real nice. I'm an alumni, so it's.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
Sure.
so you not only get the regular tour, but I can. All right, let's go see the president, kind of thing. And we were having lunch, and he was over there, and it was real nice. And it's just it's kind of like this community. It's relatively small, but it's very your professors are first name basis. It's not. It's the family atmosphere.
That counts for something as far as I'm concerned.
It did for me because I didn't end up going to a big school, and I didn't really want to go to a big school where you're identified by your social security number.
Fortunately, we do have some great schools in northern New York and elsewhere in New York that specialize in all the things you've mentioned here today, so that our kids don't even have to go out of state if they want to get a very good education in any related field.
Absolutely. Morrisonville, Cornell, Oswego even has a program to get masters, to get if they want to go on for ag education, they've got the master's program right there. Cornell is amazing. Cobleskill. We've got a big 1,000-gallon fish tank we built this year.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
We just want to do something different. Next year we're going to offer aquaculture, which is fish farming and fish biology.
Sure.
But it's not running. The water's in it. It is watertight. But
that counts for something too.
The thing about it is with a lot of the stuff that we're building is you get one shot at it, so we have to do it very slow. And the other part of it is it's not cheap, so you got to make sure that you got the funds in hand. And there's been a lot of great people that have donated money to make that happen. The New York Veterinary Society donated $250. Mr. White got a grant for sciences and stuff, and he donated $200 towards it. And then the rest of it just came out of budget. But there's $500 in lumber and $500 in nuts and bolts and pumps, and the only thing left to do is get some bulkheads and some PVC pipe. We're running.
It sounds to me like you hit the ground running in this job.
I hope so, because if you look at my shoes, they got a lot of holes. I'm not
That's what
kidding.
you wear in this kind of atmosphere. So you really enjoy your job, Don?
I do. I like it a lot. I wake up in the morning and I'm looking forward to coming to work. And there's too many people out there that just can't do that. So.
Yeah. I think our viewers would love to know what's happening here today. They saw a little bit of the craziness and chaos, and we started with my head sticking through the thing over there, and all the kids laughing and having fun. But what's on the agenda today?
Well, one of the things we try to do is broaden it out just beyond cows and plows and kind of celebrate everything that's going on in the school. So we got the art club. We also have the Kiwanis Club, who does a lot of local stuff. We've got Pam Boris is over there. She's with Reality Check, and they've got demonstrations about lungs and smoking and stuff like that. Over here we have the grill that Cody made in ag mechanics class. We've got some little goats that kids brought in. We brought in the ambulance and the fire truck so that the little kids can go through it.
That's a good idea.
Well, I was in the fire department for 5 years, and you really don't want your first contact with somebody that you don't know in that rescue situation to be kind of a scary one. So they were very gracious in saying that they would come in and do it. We've got a lot of small animals in there. We got our fish tank. We got the silent auction, the cattle show. They're reworking the books. We had some cows not show up, so we have to rework the books. That'll start very soon. Hot dogs, hamburgers, pretty much. Hopefully the same thing as everywhere. If you look in the far over there in the field, they're actually casting with the wind. They've got the Trout Unlimited's doing fly fishing demonstrations with the kids.
I thought I saw Don Lee walking by with a couple of fly rods.
Yeah, they've been great. On the inside, actually, where we're serving all the burgers, we had a deal worked out with them where they gave us all the equipment, and we raised up 120 salmon for them.
No kidding.
Yeah, they gave them to us as eggs, and we got them in a big tank with a chiller.
Gee, that's neat.
As soon as things calm down, maybe we can get you in there and look at that. Just a lot of fun.
Now, are the kids all getting out of school to come to this function today? Is that how it works?
Yeah, some of them are. The ones that are showing will be here all day. A lot of the other ones we kind of pulled for the day. And there's a lot of kids that are just coming down and going to have to deal with the repercussions afterwards.
Okay, you're a big guy. You can handle that.
Yeah. If somebody's legitimately here and working for me, well, they're here, and I'm not going to make qualms about it, but I think I'm getting paged over here.
Okay.
So it was a pleasure.
We'll talk to you later,
Absolutely.
Don. Have a great day.
I know who you are.
What's your first name?
Jason.
Jason Hayes. Okay, I got you. I forgot.
Yep.
All right. I told you the Ellenburg Depot Fire Department would be here. You never listen to me. Jason Hayes, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Assistant Chief. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I moved up in the world.
That's wonderful.
Thanks.
Well, let's have no fires today.
Nah.
Just a little education here.
Okay.
Who's this behind you?
This behind us is one of our EMTs, Paul Harriman. He's also one of our
Paul, how
commissioners.
are you?
Very active guy.
And the commissioner.
Oh yeah, he's busy.
Oh, so it's nice that you came here today. What do you hope to show the kids?
We're just hoping to show them a little bit of information about the ambulance, get them familiar with the rig, especially when we come up on scene on the school here. Let them know what we do and how some of the equipment works today.
A lot of training goes into this ambulance business. In the volunteer fire business, it used to be in the old days, the fire siren would ring, and you'd go and jump on the fire truck, generally an open fire truck, and go to a fire. I'm sure you talked to the old guys. Nowadays, it's a lot of training to become a fireman and a lot of training to become an EMT.
Oh yeah, basic EMTs right now are about 6 months schooling.
Think about it.
Techs are about almost a year now for techs. Guys, critical care, a lot of time away from family. 2 nights a week for training some nights. Firefighters are going through a Firefighter 1 course, which is about 2 nights a week for about 3 months, just for basic training nowadays.
It's not easy business with all the new kinds of hazardous materials you have to learn about and all the other stuff, right?
Everything, just the amount of training, hazmat, structural designs, old buildings, new buildings, a lot of information.
Things that we never dreamed were dangerous when I was a young guy. Now on that hazardous materials list, you have to be careful before you ever go into a warehouse that's burning or a large business.
Oh yeah.
You never know, do you?
No, we never know. Dispatch actually gives us a heads up on some information on what we're entering into and stuff, but if it's usually bad, the hazmat team, Clinton County has a team, so they form together now, and they're usually thrown out along with our departments.
We've spent a lot of time promoting volunteer firemen and ambulance crews. Most of the ambulance crews are connected with fire departments. Some are independent in this county. But there are a lot of people who spend a lot of time giving their time, and you don't get a paycheck for doing this every day, do you?
Oh no, no paycheck. It's basically giving back to the community, helping out, and it's a lot of time, but the people that do it are great. Away from their families. It's kind of like a family down there too, because everybody that you're with, you get to know and you work with, and you're always out there to help the next family that needs help. And if it's not for the guys doing it, waking up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we're not sure it would help people out. But it's all for the community.
Because you never know when there's going to be a natural disaster like the ice storm, when there's going to be this time of year a forest fire.
Oh yeah, never know what's going to go on. Towing's going to happen. We could have a structure fire in 10 minutes, and then we would have an ambulance call right after. You're pretty busy these days.
I know. Today is the 21st day of May, 2009. I woke up to fire calls in my ear down at Set Point Condominiums on North Margaret Street in Plattsburgh. I think 2 or 3 condos burned out this morning. You never know, do you?
You never know what's going to happen. It's one of those things where you could be resting and you're having a good time, and all of a sudden the pagers go off, and you got a lot of work ahead of you for the next couple hours.
How many people in your fire department?
We have an active roster right now, about 29. About 20 of them are pretty active.
Is it harder to recruit now than it used to be?
It was because of the training. The training is a lot of time, and people's families, and it's hard to get them away.
Well, I'll tell you, you have my tremendous congratulations and support, along with all the other paid and volunteer fire departments and ambulance crews in Clinton County. We're lucky for the system we have here.
Yeah, the system's great. All the way from our Eric Day, all the way down, our coordinators, everybody. We have to be thankful of all our guys in the department and commissioners. Everyone that we've had in the last 5 years, this department's come a long way. So even the county's come a long ways. A lot of the firefighters, the training wise and everything like that.
And you could never do it without the support from the community itself.
The community is the biggest part of us. They come down. We do an open house usually every summer. We get a pretty big crew of people from the county and the community. They come in, we show them all the gear, and the community is what supports us.
That's great. Jason, I really appreciate you being here today.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys could interview me.
No emergency calls today, okay?
Nah, hoping not. But I do want to put out pancake breakfast Sunday, the 31st.
Chances are this will be on television long after.
No, that's all
We'll
right.
see if our bellies are a little bigger when that's over, okay?
And that's all right. But thanks for the interview.
We'll do it, Jason. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Have a good one.
See ya. All right. Paul, what's your last name?
Gilmore.
Paul, how are you?
Good, you?
I'm just doing great.
How's your cameraman?
I don't never know about him.
I've been on this side of the camera with him before.
Oh, you have,
Oh,
huh?
yes.
Some days he weakens, but he looks strong.
Yeah,
today.
he looks good today. Keep him out of the sun. Keep him hydrated. He might be all right.
Yeah, I think so. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here today, Paul.
I have a neighbor kid that belongs to the FFA, and he asked me to bring these horses over for him. What we have here, we have a Percheron and a Belgian.
Nice horses. What are their names? Do you know?
This is Pat, and the brown one's Tony.
Oh, we know some good friends at Country Dreams Farm, and their big horses are Pat and Pete. And we've become almost intimately familiar with these horses. We were taking a ride on the wagon, and the horses, and one of the tires blew on the wagon, so the horses took a ride, an unexpected
for a good ride.
But we all survived, and Calvin caught it on tape in spite of himself. So, are you? Have you been interested in horses yourself for a long
Yep,
time?
it's been a couple years. I've owned this team for a couple years now. We pull in different pulling classes, and we enjoy them at home with wagon rides and hay rides and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of our viewers are not horse lovers as much as we are. They don't have any idea what the pulling competition is all about.
Well, they load weights on a sled and see how much you can pull out.
In the old days, one of the first essays I ever wrote in 3rd grade was about a pulling contest that I went to at the fair, and they just used stone boats in those days.
Basically, that's all it is. It's a metal stone boat, and we put cement weight on it.
And I recall writing that because my mother saved all those pathetic little papers that I wrote when I was a little boy. But this one had a good message because one of the guys with a team swore at his horses and beat on them. And another guy was a big guy like you who talked softly to his horses and had a smaller team, and guess which team won?
Probably the team that was well cared for and loved.
Got it. Isn't that amazing?
Yep, you can always get more with sugar than you can salt.
They do respond.
Or whatever that old
Whatever
saying
that
is.
was. But it does, horses do respond. to
Yes, they do.
kindness, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Have you raised a lot of horses? Or?
Nope. My neighbor owned these horses for probably 7 or 8 years. They're an older team of horses, and he wanted to get younger and get bigger horses. So I took them off his hands, and kind of they're in a retirement stage right now.
Are they really?
Yes. We pull them. I still pull them in contests, but I'm not going to make them pull until they can't pull anymore. We're going to enjoy it and have fun, and I got grandkids. We get on their sled or on the wagon, wintertime, doesn't matter. We enjoy them that way.
It's a beautiful piece of nostalgia because horses have always had a place, and it's wonderful for me to know that they still do.
They do.
Have you got a sleigh?
Yes, I do.
No kidding.
Yep.
And have you got stuff for summertime?
I've got a couple 2-wheel carts, and I've got actually the old wooden spoked wagon.
Come on.
Yep. Bought it up on an Amish sale last year.
An old one or a new one?
It's an old one that's been rebuilt, obviously, but it's a wooden spoke.
Isn't that amazing? The past is here in the present.
Yep. Actually, I go to a friend of mine that has horses, and he's a modern farmer. He's got a tractor, but all his field work is done with his horses.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
Well,
that's where I learned to drive and stuff, is going out there and just getting on and going. He says, I can't teach you. Here you go.
Do you live on a farm?
Nope. I live Chattagay Lake. No.
Obviously, you got enough place to keep your horses.
Yes, I do. Yep.
That's wonderful. You never had
Can't afford to be a farmer these days.
Who can?
Oh my God.
We've talked to these guys. I don't know how they can survive. You try to explain that to people who live in the city, and they have no clue, do they?
No.
Vegetables come from the store.
Yeah.
Milk comes from the store, right? Anyway, Paul, go take care of your kids. Have a great day. Good to talk to you, buddy.
You too.
See you later.
Thank you.
Hi, kids. Tony nephew, how are you?
Good, yourself?
What a day.
Beautiful.
You couldn't ask for a better day for this little shindig, could you?
Yeah, nice breeze, keep it a little cool.
Calvin said when we come over here we have to whisper, see what it says?
Yeah.
Actually, that's the name of the little horse.
Yeah.
Is that yours?
Yeah, my daughter's actually.
Tell me a little bit about it.
20-year-old Class A Mini. She's 31 inches tall.
20 years old?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Pretty good shape, huh?
Oh my goodness, I never would have guessed it. Did you get her when she was very young?
No, we've only had her about a year and a half.
This is every child's dream, isn't it, to own a horse this size?
Yeah, it is. The kids love her.
What's your daughter's name?
Rebecca.
Okay, where is Rebecca here?
She's over here in a...
Over there somewhere.
Rebecca over here.
Is she just a little girl or is she a big girl?
Little girl, she's 11.
Oh, can she ride on Whisper?
On that cart right there.
Oh, you got the little cart over there. Oh, isn't that
We're getting
cool?
there. She's not totally trained, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Doesn't try to bolt on you when you get her hooked up?
Not bad.
No,
Yeah,
that's...
she's a little hot at first, then she calms down.
Where did Whisper come from? This area?
Vermont.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Something you just decided on the spur of the moment, or how did that work?
My daughter had been riding at some stables around here, and she really has love for horses, so we got her a little horse.
Oh, isn't that
We chose
beautiful?
the minis because they're a little easier to keep, smaller barn, less feed. You know.
I thought I saw a picture of a mini in the paper the other day.
You did. That was I don't know. It's Jacob Lavarnway.
Oh, really?
It was at horse camp last weekend for 4-H. My daughter was there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
You don't see too many of these miniature horses. Are there a lot around or not?
Not really. Not a whole lot up here. There's some. Now that we have one and we really start looking, there's some around, but not a lot.
Now, do you live on a farm?
We just have a small little farm at our house, and my father-in-law has a big dairy farm.
Yes, we know about his big dairy farm.
I'm in contact with my hay and stuff. You know,
oh, that's wonderful. Well, this horse looks extremely healthy.
Yeah, she's on some minerals. We keep her good minerals. That helps a lot.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And all the kids around here just love a horse that's their size, don't they?
Yeah, it doesn't intimidate them, and they like the minis.
That's terrific. We got a little bit of a gale blowing here. It's a good thing we don't wear toupees there, buddy boy. Talking to Calvin in the camera.
Yeah.
It's always fun to come down here.
Yeah, it's a good show here.
Good for the kids. We're so delighted with Don and the ag program here at the school. We hope it continues for a long time.
Yeah, I got a son that shows dairy cows also.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Actually, he's probably due to go in these cows right here.
It doesn't look like there was many cows here this year as there were last year. I'm not sure. But
I actually think it might be more.
Oh, really?
They're very close to what they had last year.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
It's a good program.
Well, that's great. Tony, thanks so much for talking with us.
Nice talking with you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Will you?
Thank you.
All right, as they say in the carnival, we're on the inside. I forgot your name already.
You forgot my name.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Homer Bushy?
Homer, yeah, I gotcha. You've got a long history here. This is your baby.
Well, it started back when the school started, but you know, you also have to remember that it started way back when Altona and Ellenburg, that became part of Northern Adirondack, had ag programs, and their FFA chapters also had fairs back then. And the fact that came from Altona, graduated from Altona, I also participated with them at that time. So it's something that's originated actually from the schools that started way back before Northern Adirondack came about, but we just continued it on since 1970, and it's still going.
Well, aren't you glad the program is still going strong after all these years?
Yes. Very importantly, the things the kids get out of it, the education that they get out of it, and the things that they do that are something for them to do other than just hanging around not doing anything. And that's probably one of the biggest problems with kids today, is that they don't have things to do, and that's where they unfortunately sometimes get in trouble.
I just wrote a recent column about telling people to kick their kids outside.
Yeah.
You know, shut off the computer games.
Yeah. We started
off the iPods.
I know,
for a little while.
iPhones now are the big thing. So, No, but it's a heck of a thing. But I'm still helping out as much as I can. We started last year when I came back to help out the substitute teacher, bringing kids down to my farm in Champlain to work with kids to show cattle to get numbers up a little bit. And we did the same thing with Mr. Jones. This year we had 11 that started off. We ended up with 9, so we got 9 animals up here. 9 kids from our school district here in Adirondack is.
That's pretty darn good. I'm so happy. We're happy that Don got the job. He seems to be working hard at it.
Oh yeah, and he knows what the tradition is, and it's just to keep up. Your first year, you're not going to learn everything that needs to be done. You're just going to learn from one year to the next. When I first started teaching a while ago, I wasn't in a school district, but the old guy that had been in a neighboring school district that said, before you really get going with an ag program and FFA chapter, you got to be there at least 4 or 5 years to really get to know everything that needs to be done and the timing of getting things done, and it's important that you do that. And you get the quality education program that goes along with it, then you're going to have great super kids like we had, in the past, and then I'm continuing to be, I assume, today. You see these kids from one day to the next somewhere that you've had in the past, and they're doing great things and outstanding responsibilities for the jobs that they are doing, whether it's in agriculture or not. So that's the most important thing of all.
What's different about the FFA now than 40 years ago, for example?
Well, 40 years ago, first of all, girls weren't in it. Girls didn't begin until about 1969, 70s when they first started coming in, and that's when I first came up here. So I had 1 or 2 girls the first couple of years, but then after that, when I left, we had about 60% of the program were girls. It's the diversification of agriculture. It's not just farming anymore. It's so many other opportunities in agriculture other than just farming, which I've said before in the past. But Mr. Jones' specialty is conservation, forestry, wildlife. That's why he's built a fish tank in the school.
I heard it's 1,000 gallons and it doesn't leak.
No, it doesn't leak. That's the most important.
I think so.
And I think he's got some kind of a device set up in there so that something happens and there's no way it's going to flood the school. So and the most important thing you got to worry about with any of these kinds of projects that you've got, especially during vacation time, is electricity, making sure the electricity doesn't go off for some reason or another, because that can ruin the whole darn thing. I know we did plant tissue culture one year, and it was over Christmas vacation, and we had them coming good. We had the cultures coming good, and all at once, bang, the electricity went off and killed them. When the petri dishes were full of mold, we got back from vacation, so
that's sad.
It ruined it, yeah.
That's sad. Tell us a little bit about the judging. How does this work anyway?
All right, well, the first thing they're doing are the not confirmation, but showmanship classes. It's to see how well these kids have worked with their animals. Some may be very fortunate that they live right in the farm that the animals are, so it makes it much easier. Some of those don't live on a farm, then obviously it's much more difficult. They got to get to wherever they got to go. Mr. Jones has been nice to be able to get the kids down to my place, and some of them, because he wasn't here this past weekend, were able to get down there to parents, and parents helped each other out to get their kids down to my place to help work with the animals. But right now they're looking for is the animal, how well it's prepared to lead. They need to know some basic information about the animal, the date it was born, and possibly the sire or the father of the animal. And then they got to make sure that they're watching their animal, but at the same time they got to be watching the judge to make sure that the judge is asking for something or looking for something, that they need to be able to respond to them or be able to make sure that the animal's set a certain way when the judge tells them to set them up at a certain time. Then when he starts putting them in place, so they got to be aware of where you're supposed to go when it comes time for being placed first, second, on down through. That will be done in all the classes. Every one of the kids will be showing at least twice if they only got one animal. If they got more than one animal, then obviously be showing more, because even in showmanship, I think it's the first and second place animals, if they still do it the way I used to do it. Each of these showmanship classes will come in together for the grand showman. And so some of these kids might be showing their animal twice for showmanship. And that's, again, how well they've taken care of and prepared the animal for the cattle show. And then the second part of the show is the confirmation classes. And that's basically the way the animal's supposed to look relative to the breed that they represent. I think we got like 4 or 5 breeds here today. So we got Guernseys, we got Ashers, we got red and white Holsteins and black and white Holsteins. I don't think we've got any Jersey. I don't believe we have any. Oh yeah, we do have one little Jersey, I believe. So we got a lot of breeds represented, but it's still the same. Some of them are doing different. So the Jersey breed is the smallest breed of the dairy animals, and the Holstein is generally speaking is the largest breed of them. So it's how well the big Holsteins look as compared to each other as they bring them in the show ring, and then the same thing with the other breeds as what they may be. Then it's based upon. There's a lot of things they look at. They look for the strength of the animal, the daringness of the angularity of the animal, On heifers, you can't tell anything on the mammary system at the point, but on the dairy cows, they're looking for the mammary system, whether it's how well it's the animal's udder is attached to her body and the mammary veins that are located on it and underneath it. And then obviously the very important part is the feet and legs. Cows not going to last long if they've got good feet and legs. And once they comprise all that information together, they come up on who they think is the best overall in each of the classes.
So these kids have to, that's a real learning curve for these young kids, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
They have to spend a little time with that animal.
Yes, they do. And again, like I said, it's unfortunate they don't live on a farm, but fortunate for those that live on a farm because they live with them probably every day. But again, it's those that really are special effort when they do come to those farms that they're living on, that they take the time. At least the ones that had my farm that came down, they were with those animals. Sometimes just walking them around just so to get used to them, to get, so they're not going to have any difficulty when they get them in a show ring. And that ring right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are of the animals that came down to my farm.
No kidding.
Yep. So they're all first-time experienced people that have never shown before in their life, and so every one of them is having the first-time experience.
That's great. How many competitions like this are there around our area?
Well, from here, that's the county fair, Clinton County Fair. And then if they involved with the registry of animals, purebred animals, most of them have to be, if they go to any other county fair, because the FFA has its own fair, they don't have to be pure registered animals when it shows the FFA show, but in the open show, they have to be registered animals. From there, if they want to go to Franklin County. And then from Franklin County, most of them probably at that point will be headed towards State Fair for those that go. And that's the next level of competition.
No kidding. We do have kids that go down to State Fair.
Well,
right?
when my children were in school, or in FFA and 4-H, I took them every year when they were eligible to be in there. And the other parents, when I first started teaching down here, we used to have a cattle trailer. We'd hire a cattle trailer truck, and I'd go down with a bunch of kids and cattle from Clinton County, represent our FFA chapter, and go at the State Fair. And that was a long time ago, but it was great to do it then. But of course, today the expenses of everything for people, and especially with the dairy industry now, the way it is with the price of milk, is back as what it was back in the mid '70s.
Well, we're lucky to have county fairs anymore, aren't we?
Oh, you were very lucky.
It's harder and harder to put them on and make money, and it takes a lot of volunteer effort.
Well, I'm on the county fair board, and just the finances that we have now, the insurance coverage is just phenomenal. Now we have a workman's compensation for everybody that's on payroll or not on payroll, and all the extra costs of that. I mean, it's phenomenal how much it is. And then the entertainment today, we just can't afford the workman's comp and some of these guys that, the good, great entertainment that you can get with country western people, because that's what most of your country fairs are about. It's just so expensive. We just can't afford to do that anymore to be able to come alive when we get done at the end. We got to try and make some money to be able to carry on the responsibilities of upkeep of our county fair. Because you take a look at county fairs, if you ever have a chance to go around the state of New York, and you'll be totally complimented on our county fair because of the structure and the way that stuff has been maintained down there is unbelievable. We've been very fortunate to some of our representatives, Senator Little and Assemblyman Dupree, to be able to get some of the funding that we've had for our county fair. So we're very fortunate to have those people help support us. We've been able to get a lot of grants to help do some of the things that we needed to do for our fairgrounds.
I think it's very important to preserve that agricultural heritage, because all these fairs started as agricultural fairs, right? Many years ago.
That's right. And the only thing is to maintain it. And just like this year, the state gives the county fair premium money to help pay for some of the monies that we give them to these, the animals that we have, the cattle and some of the horses. And it's just being able to, make that come available. This year was a question whether we were going to get it all this year. So the fair would probably have to pick that up, but they did come through, and we did end up having some money to help pay for the premium money for our people that are going to be showing animals. The only thing is, it's just for the number of cattle that we're going to be coming this year, probably much less than what we probably had before, because of the farmers are going out, selling out, just the cost expenditure now. Take a look at the price of gasoline already in the gas pump.
We're doing this on the 21st of May, 2009. The gas prices have gone up 25 or 30 cents over the last few weeks. We have no idea where it's going to end. You don't know which politicians to believe.
The only thing I don't like about that is when you go for buy a gas station from one day to the next, and I don't think a gasoline tanker comes in probably once every week, every 2 weeks. But when you see the price fluctuate from one day to the next, I don't know.
Sometimes as much as 10 or 15 cents. Yeah, we keep track of that. Even the listings in the paper are a day or two late. We notice listings in today's paper, for example, and they're a couple days old by the time they get in the paper.
Sure.
So anyway, it is difficult for farmers to make it today. And this a program that we're doing today at Northern Adirondack Central School is a tribute to farmers in the North Country, and I won't say old guys like Homer Bushy, but people who've not only put their nose to the grindstone and their hands on the plow, but you've promoted it and educated people and talk about it every year. And we really appreciate that, because it takes a few people like you to keep it going, plus the farmers themselves.
Well, the parents are the ones, you know.
Yeah.
You got to have the parents behind the kids. Anything that they do today, the parents have got to be there for them. And if they're not, then that's a very difficult situation. But some of the parents, it just was difficult for them to come down in Champlain, but others were there, but it still make any difference. They're here. Most of them, I think, are here today to watch their kids out there for the first time. And, you know, it's a learning situation, and whether the kids want to continue to do it or not, hopefully I'll have maybe a few heifers next year for the kids to work with. But farmers in the nearby area, these kids have got some little bit of expertise now in being able to show an animal, but we're hoping that more farms, if it's possible for them to be able to do it, to help these kids out. Maybe somewhere or another, Mr. Jones can make a connection with, you know, early spring about farms that might be interested in having kids show cattle to help more kids be involved. I mean, they're there. Like I said, I had 11 kids that were interested in wanting to show cattle. Didn't live on a farm at all, and they love doing it, and it's great to see kids working with animals.
I think it's great. As I said before, it certainly is part of our heritage. We're delighted to see this program. You got it off and running, and now it's still going here in 2009. Yeah. May it last for a long, long time, huh?
I hope so.
I do too. Homer, thanks so much. Good
no
to
problem.
see you.
Nice talking to you guys.
We're gonna tie flies. Where's Angelo LaMariana when we need him, right?
Actually, these flies I'm going to give to Angelo LaMariana.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
Hop Wheeler, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Great to have you here today. People might think you're out of your element, but my guess is you're in your element.
I work so that I can fly fish.
Isn't it amazing? I use the word passion a lot because I have passion for a lot of things, and I hope it shows. But people who love fly fishing have a passion that isn't in Webster's dictionary. What is it about flies?
I don't know. It's something about fooling the fish, I think.
Oh, really?
Take a little bit of fur and feather, and
not to mention the spouses.
Well, hey.
Every now and again. No, I think Donnelly's laughing louder than anybody, and I'm not sure why, but we'll find out before we leave here today. How long have you been doing it, Hap?
Since I was about 12 years old.
Come on, that was 7 or 8 years ago.
That's a few years ago.
I never asked you, are you from this area?
Yes,
originally?
I am. Yep.
Really?
My dad was the prison chaplain in Dannemora for many, many years.
Come on.
For 20 years, back in the 50s and 60s into the early 70s.
I did not realize that.
Yep.
I've just been doing a lot of writing about that Church of the Good Thief up there. And
yeah, I saw, I don't know, was it you that interviewed Pete Light up there?
I have in the past, and he's a good friend, and Pete Light has a lot of the information that Terry Gilroy had, because Gert sent me an email the other day telling me that. I wrote a column recently about a piece of sheet music that was written in 1946 called The Hills of Dannemora, and it was written about the inmates building that church.
Yep.
And it's a little hokey and a little funny, but it's something that nobody'd ever heard of till we found this old piece of sheet music. So in any case, I wasn't aware of that, so I'm learning your family history. So you've been tying flies since you were 12.
Since I was 12.
You know, people who are watching this are saying, I could never do that. I got 2 left hands. How long does it take to learn how to tie a fly? A simple fly.
Oh boy. Well, I've been at it for what? 40 years now?
Yeah, but you can do it in 4 hours, an hour.
Yeah, you know, I've taught my daughter how to tie flies, and she picked it up pretty quickly. But my mother used to tie flies with Olga Buck. I don't know. Do you remember Olga Buck?
I remember that name, but haven't even heard it for a long time.
Olga Buck was married to Doc Buck, who was an inveterate fly fisherman in Dannemora, and Olga and my mother used to get together and tie flies together and stuff. And when I was about 12 years old, my father showed me how to fly fish, and I started reading a book by Ray Bergman called Trout, and learned to tie flies from reading Trout, and have been at it ever since. And just carrying on the tradition of people like Olga and Miles Buck and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Tell me some of the materials you're using here today.
Well, because of the wind here, I've kind of limited myself to just a few materials here. This is part of a red fox squirrel. It's a fairly large squirrel and has this beautiful reddish color. And in fact, the nymph is the fly is called a red fox squirrel nymph, and it's. It's a very, very good fly. I found it very effective. It's one of my favorite flies. And Angie LaMariana can't tie flies anymore. His hands are fairly arthritic. So,
for those people who might be watching this program on the internet at Plattsburgh.com who aren't from the Great North Country, this wonderful region we call the North Country, even though lots of other places call themselves the North Country. We're in the northeastern corner of New York State in Clinton County right now. We have a pretty good fishery around here.
We don't like to talk about it. We don't.
Too late. There might be 7 or 8 people watching this program.
Fishing's lousy right now.
But we mentioned the name of our good friend Angelo LaMariana. Some of our friends might only know Angie because of his fiddle on the day they named the Irish Person of the Year. But Angie's an institution not only in the classroom and before orchestras, but in the area's rivers and streams. And he's going on, I forget, 93, 92? 96? Well, I never should have been. Isn't that amazing? And he's such a dear friend and a good guy. And talk about promoters of fly fish. I meant to ask you, if you Hap, I know your name. How many times did you stay on the rocks, and how many times did you slip? And
I go fishing. I go swimming every time I go fishing.
You know, I have the good. Don knows I live about 3 feet from the beautiful Saranac River, and I've spent all my years talking about how beautiful it is. My wife and I were sitting on the back deck today, watching the first hummingbird of the season. Watched the blue heron come up through. Some native ducks. A couple of 3 geese who are louder than any gaggle I ever heard in my life. But we live in a very special place here. And there's no question that it's a beautiful place to live. But if you like to fish, and we watch lots and lots of people fly fishing in our area, you have to be a little sure-footed. Either that or you have to be able to hold your breath.
A little ski pole broomstick is what you really want to have.
That's true. I remember old Red Dajna, who used to fish the river up and down 30 years ago. He never slipped. I don't think he ever wore waders. I think a pair of sneakers, an old pair of pants did it for him. So you've been fishing. You started fishing when you were 12?
I started fishing early. I started fly fishing when I was 12.
So how many flies do you think you've tied over the last 40 years? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Thousands, probably thousands.
And how come a fly that works today can't even entice a trout tomorrow?
They're picky that way.
I want to talk to a couple of these other guys here while we're doing that. Thanks so much.
Sure.
William, how are you, young man?
Gordy, it's good
You aren't ever going to get your hands on this microphone.
Oh, no.
Swinger, get over here. So tell us a little bit about your association with this wonderful organization.
Well, I'll tell you, the Lake Champlain chapter of Trout Unlimited really is a wonderful organization. You're talking about the wonderful fishing in the North Country. We're some of the people that do our best to keep it that way. So we work a lot with kids. We've got, for instance, this year, we've got 15 different schools in Essex, Clinton, and Franklin County raising salmon in the classroom. And we'll get a chance to show you some of those later.
Don was telling us about their little project here. I think that's terrific.
It's amazing. We'll get to see them in a minute, but right now they've grown from eggs to a length of about like that, and they're called fry. So they've gone through the egg to alvin to fry. They're ready to go in the stream right now. But the beauty of this project is it shows kids about the environment, about conservation, and about one of our special North Country fishes.
It's pretty important to start them young, educate them, let them learn, and then eventually they start fishing themselves. Join Trout Unlimited.
There you go.
We got another generation
another generation of conservationists and fishermen. You can't beat it.
Yeah, this is a good group you have. How many members these days?
Oh, we run typically about 130 members, and we have a chapter here. There's a chapter in the Tri-Lakes, Saranac Lake, and the other chapter is in Glens Falls. Those are the three closest chapters in the North Country. In the state, there are over 8,000 members and about 37 chapters right now.
I just want people to know, because we haven't often talked about TU or Trout Unlimited. It's an important organization, not just to enhance what we're looking at here today, but to let our government know how important it is to maintain these fisheries.
And it is very significant, and we do an awful lot of work here in New York State with our state council, with DEC, working with the DEC folks, and with other sportsmen. Nationally, we do work in New York State, in the Appalachians, where there's a lot of problems with mine runoff, and in the West, where there's big problems with preserving and restoring both trout and salmon. So it's a great organization, nationally over 300,000 members, I guess.
I love it. Thank goodness our streams are looking good around here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Bill. We appreciate it.
Let's talk to a couple of these guys here. They can tell you more about this salmon in the classroom.
I think we might be able to do that. Don Lee, how are you?
Good, Gordy. How you doing, sir?
Al, how you doing?
I'm fine, Gordy. How are you?
Good to see you.
You bet.
Buddies all around.
Yeah. You bet.
What would we ever do without your organization? We haven't spent nearly enough time complimenting Trout Unlimited for what they've done to get the message out.
We try hard. With Don Lee started the Salmon in the Classroom, and I'm getting calls to go do Cub Scout camps and on the weekend and do some instruction. And we've been to Plattsburgh High School and did 3 days there. The entire high school class from 9th right straight through the 12th grade. We were there for 3 days talking about fishing and what a beautiful area we have to fish in. And the trout and salmon that Don and I chase are indicator species. Where they survive, the water quality has to be good. And when they're not there, I think it's a time to be concerned, because it's an indicator that the stream and the water quality isn't high enough to support that fish life. And that's our message. We want to protect our streams. We want to get the message to our young children, so that when they grow up, they're there, they see their streams, they're going to protect them and make sure that we do the right things environmentally to protect those streams.
It's a feel-good sport, isn't it?
It is a feel-good sport, yes, Gordy. And you know what? The most fun, it's fun to catch a fish too.
Hey, that's true. Well, that's what I meant about a feel-good sport.
And the other part of it, like I do a lot of things with the kids, and I enjoy that. But the best part, I tell them, it doesn't make any difference how old, how big, how small, gray hair, wrinkles, no wrinkles, gender. Little gender.
We got most of that represented.
We got that covered pretty good here around the school. But I mean, you can fish on an equal, and like the girls actually pick up fly fishing quicker than the guys, because guys are born with meat hooks. Girls have these delicate instruments on the end of their arms. It's just the way. But
thank God they do.
You bet.
But I'd love to see the husband and wife teams walking past my place.
Yeah.
Isn't it great? I take pictures of them, and they wonder, why is that weird guy taking pictures out of his backyard? But it's great to see the husband and wife team.
And we have quite a history. I mean, if you look on the county seal for the county of Clinton, there's a salmon on that seal.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't understand what that. I think it's just a fish, but it's an Atlantic salmon. And at one time, it's believed that possibly Atlantic salmon came up through the St. Lawrence, up into the Richelieu River, into Lake Champlain. But with the advent of dams and other things, they got landlocked. And then the dams they built in our rivers, the salmon were extirpated. And then DEC back in the late 70s, early 80s, started stocking the rivers, especially the Boquete and the Saranac, with salmon. Couldn't realize how quickly they took off. And of course the history in the river where you live, in fact behind your house, there used to be so many salmon that the farmers would come with buckboards, go out in the river with the buckboards and a pitchfork and load a wagon with 18 to 25 pound salmon.
This guy got me going on a salmon. The first time I met him, I didn't even get a chance to say, how are you, before he goes crazy talking about the salmon. And because of your passion, I developed a passion for trying to see that will happen again.
Well, we all are. I mean, the governor at one time gave us $1.5 million. Okay.
Yep.
We have used about 300,000 of it to do a survey in front of the impediments and the sediment in front of the dam and Imperial Mill. There's already a fish ladder, by the way, up at Treadwell Mills.
Oh yes.
So if we can get either Imperial Mill lowered or a fish ladder, the Atlantic salmon will get to their traditional spawning grounds, which is no further than up behind your house in Kents Falls. That's their natural barrier. So
it's very difficult to educate politicians about fish ladders.
I dabbled in that a little bit, as you recall, so I know all about that.
Because of you, I dabbled in it and got a governor in a back room, and he turns to another politician, a late politician who shall remain nameless, and says, "What's a fish ladder?"
Yep.
I turned off my tape recorder and went home and said, "Boy,
that's a tough job.
Don,
Really
you got a project in front of you."
Well,
we're relentless, though. We're not going to give up on that. We're still talking, to the current administration about it. We mention it every time we're at DEC, and we're talking to DEC officials and fish biologists, and it's just a relentless program. We're behind that, and we're going to stay behind that until we get something done.
But some of those people you can't change, Gordy. We know that.
Yeah.
But these kids that were around here today,
that's the whole point.
You teach them
That's why
about
we're
the
here.
environment and what's in the river besides a place to throw your garbage, and that's why we do this Adopt a Salmon program. And they get it. And my biggest thrill is I'll be walking in the mall or something, and some little girl or guy will go, "Hey, Dad, that's a salmon man over there." That's, to me, makes my day. So,
well, you guys have done many different things for a living in your careers, but your lives would have been a lot more drab had it not been for fishing.
Oh, I mean, Al and I go to Nova Scotia every year up to Cape Breton Island salmon fishing.
Now,
I mean, we have more fun. The wives go with us. We have a ball.
When I was a youth, I used to fish in the Saranac River and that, but I was a spin fisherman. And being with Don for a while, he convinced me that I had to first build a fly rod. And then after I built the fly rod, it took me a long time to use it, but I finally learned, and it's just a passion now that I can't give up.
Many of us started with a cane pole many years ago.
So the first trip up to Nova Scotia, who's the top rod and catches the most and biggest fish? Mr. Sweener.
Beginners.
And who lorded it over you all the way home? Yeah, we know how that goes. You guys are the best. I want to thank you all for being here. Keep working with the kids.
Hey, and you guys in hometown, you do a good job. We appreciate that.
We try so hard. Good to see you, Bill. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
There are pigs, and then there are pigs. Look at this.
Kind of looks like you.
I don't know if that's a potbelly pig.
No, it looks like a real pig to me.
A real little pig, right? And there's a big one over here on this side. We got all kinds of large and small animals here today, and we hope to talk to some of the people who have the smaller ones inside. I'm anxious also to have a look finally at that $1,000 or 1,000-gallon fish tank that they were talking about a little while ago. Quite a group of bystanders here, a lot of high school kids, grade school kids, elementary children who are enjoying the animals. And this FFA Day here at Ellenburg, Northern Adirondack Central School in late May 2009 is an excellent event for people all the way around. And boy, did we luck out weather-wise today to have a day in late May where it's close to 90 degrees with fairly low humidity. Just terrific all the way around.
KA,
I got you. All right, Martha K.A., how are you doing?
Great.
We were just talking about our dear friend, Carol Sears
Honig, right?
Yep, she's doing well, and we stay in touch, and you guys all knew her way back in the day.
Yes. When we were very young.
When you and I were young Maggie. What's going on here today, Martha?
Macadam and Cabot had donated cheese to the FFA. And all these items that they've donated for free for us to give out. And then the FFA will be selling cheese, taking orders, and they will get a percentage of the profits from the cheese as a fundraiser.
Isn't that terrific?
So we've got samples and give away posters, cups, little picture frames, stickers, and buttons.
You and your family have been involved in this project for a while.
We've been here. I was trying to figure it out this morning. I think it's since 1993.
Oh, really? 16 years?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Now I don't have little ones here anymore, children, but I'm still in the FFA alumni, so we help out where we can.
Oh, yeah. If you're an alumni forever, you know.
Pretty much.
You cannot escape.
That's right.
But it's worth it, isn't it great?
It's great. It's wonderful. And with Mr. Jones here, he's expanding the program. He's actually bringing it back to where it was before, when Homer Bushy was here. So it's great to see. It is absolutely amazing to see what he's doing with the kids, and his numbers are up, the classes are increasing, and so it's a good thing to see.
We think that the program is extremely important, or we wouldn't bother to come up here with Calvin's cameras every year.
Right, yeah.
And all you have to do is look around and see the enthusiasm from the young ones here.
I know. And hopefully the younger ones will see this, and then they'll be interested in joining FFA and taking ag classes when they get into junior high school and senior high school.
One generation and the next, huh?
Right.
Well, it's great to have you here. It's good to see you again, and I will tell Carol when I send her a little email tonight.
Yes, great.
That I saw you today.
And she has my email address also. And we
forget sometimes.
Yes, I know. We forget to email each other. It's been a while since I've heard from her, but it's nice.
We're the same. I'll discover her on another website somewhere, because she does.
Right.
She writes a lot of pieces, a lot of editorials, a lot of comments on things, and I see her name. And if there's a comment, I'll add one, and she'll say, "Oh, thank you very much."
Yes, isn't that nice?
How about that, Martha? It's good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you too.
Have a lovely day, will you?
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Well, once you've been to Hawaii, your attitude toward chickens changes. Oh, yeah, that too, in Nicaragua too. But in Hawaii, and our couple of visits there, all the islands are covered, of course, with chickens. They're ubiquitous. I think chickens define the word ubiquitous. They're everywhere. There's some beauties here. Reminds me of once, where were we? In the Franklin County Fair with the little kids, and one of those classic moments in our little corner. But these are the blue ribbons, of course, are award winners, and this is the school fair. This is the school fair in Northern Adirondack in Ellenburg, and it's just a thrill for the hometown cable cameras at our little corner to come down here every year and talk to the kids, talk to those people who inspire the kids, the adults, and this has been a real great kick for us today. I see bunny rabbits, I see ducks, I see chickens, and other small animals all around us. Can't say enough about how good the weatherman has been to us today.
It is.
A little breeze to make it feel fine. I'm sure it's close to 85 degrees on the 31st day of May. Michigan and a mountain, Michigan and a Mountain Dew. That's what makes life worth living, right over there.
Well, I'm not watching. I'm the health teacher.
Oh, you are. Pam Bulris, how are you?
Very good today.
Speak about health. We came over here because you told me you had pig's lungs, and I didn't believe you.
They're real pig lungs, definitely. A healthy one and one that has been smoking.
Oh, I always told my pigs not to smoke. Who are you?
I'm Sarah Page.
Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. It's very hot out here.
Oh, you haven't even seen summer yet. We're still in springtime, right? All right, tell us what's going on here.
Like Miss Boris said, these are pig lungs, and
I'll hold the mic.
Okay.
That's all right.
Here we are demonstrating the good lung, which is red, and the bad lung, which is 30 years of smoking. Yeah, and it has tumors too.
You can tell me who you are.
I'm Lita Garso.
All right, Lita Garso with the good food. Okay, next.
And if Leo would like, she can demonstrate how the good one operates and the bad one.
All right, let's try this.
Okay, this is a good lung without smoking, and that's how our lungs would pump right now.
You know what? We should tell people that pigs' lungs look a lot like our lungs, and that's why we're doing this.
They're the most comparable.
It's hard to get people to give up their real lungs for a demonstration like this. You know what I mean?
And this
All right.
is how a bad lung or 30 years of smoking would look like.
As you can see, it's very, very
Yeah,
bad.
and it's got a tumor.
Yeah, it has
It's my favorite
a
part.
tumor.
I don't know about today's kids when tumors are their favorite part.
I like poking it. It's fun.
Do you think we're making the point here today, Pam?
I think so. Some of the kids have been coming to me saying, how could you put that out there? But it's very good demonstration and shows you what happens and why you can't breathe when you've been smoking.
You know, it's absolutely important to get the message across somehow, and this is a pretty darn good way to do it.
Yeah, it is. I think like most of the students here at NAC are most impacted about this. And this is actually our first time showing something like this, so it's very interesting.
You know, it's difficult for me to understand as I guess I would call myself a reformed smoker. But like many other things that are significant in our lifetimes, Pam, I remember the exact moment in history when I decided not to smoke anymore. On February 8th, 1975, in days when there were no pills and no patches
Did you go
and no
cold turkey?
shots. And the turkey died and I didn't.
That's good.
To be smoke-free after 3.5 packs a day for a long time before that, and to have clear lungs now.
Tell him what he went through, and he'll show him what he went through, and I bet you it matches.
All right. Screaming, hollering, nasty person syndrome. All right.
This is a chart saying what you would go through quitting smoking. It says within 20 minutes after you smoke that last cigarette, your body begins a series of changes that continue for years. 20 minutes after smoking, your heart rate drops. 12 hours after quitting, carbon monoxide levels in your body drops to normal.
What would you do without help from your friends, right?
I know.
Everybody's encouraging you.
2 weeks to 3 months after smoking, your heart attack risk begins to drop. Your lung function begins to improve.
To help you too.
1 to 9 months after quitting, your throat and your coughing and shortness of breath decrease. You want to read this?
When you're after quitting, your added risk of coronary heart disease is half that of a smoker's. 5 years after quitting, your stroke risk is reduced to that of a non-smoker's. 5 to 15 years after quitting. 10 years after quitting, your lung cancer death rate is about half that of a smoker's. Your risk of cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, bladder, kidney, and pancreas decrease. And 15 years after quitting, your risk of coronary heart disease is back to that of a non-smoker's.
Isn't that amazing? Take a deep breath, right, Pam?
Yes, and I think you need to touch them to feel the difference in the
I
texture.
think you need to touch them.
We have wipies right here. It's amazing to feel the difference.
Really hard.
Oh, this one's really soft.
This one's like really hard.
And this one's really...
Yeah, you can barely get hard. Here's a wiper.
No, that's all right.
Because there's chemicals on there, just in case you decide to have a Michigan later.
Just don't lick your fingers? Is that what
Don't
you're
lick your
telling me?
fingers or chew your fingernails.
Now, whose bright idea was this demonstration, Pam?
Well, we're part of Reality Check.
I see.
And
Reality Check is a youth organization that we are non-industry, like tobacco industry. We're not non-smoker, we're non-industry. We're trying not to have like sponsoring and advertisements of smoking near teens and kids just like us. And it's hard because some people just don't get why we do this, and it's good that we do because some people understand what we're trying to do, and it's very.
Let's hope a lot of people understand what we're trying to do. I should point out, and this is in no way denigrating you beautiful young teenagers, but the brain is wired differently as we grow older and mature. And I'm sure your parents will tell you that every day of the week. Your brain's not wired right. But it changes so that our attitudes toward things that are dangerous is different when we're 15 than when we're 50. And all those ages in between. So if we can start educating people now about that. You know, it's like, and I remember the old commercial on television about drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
Yes,
remember
definitely.
that with the egg frying?
Yep, and this is your lungs on drugs.
This is your lung on
Now,
drugs.
the thing to remember is reality check is not per se against smoking. It's against the tobacco industry advertising to teenagers. And we're trying to, right now, our kids are campaigning against getting all the advertisements out of our magazines in the library, which is very important.
And very difficult to do, too, by the way.
It is. Actually, Sarah's going down to New York State.
I'm going to New York City to help get smoking out of movies that are less than rated R. We're trying to get it up to rated R.
It's something that we don't even think about when we go to the movies. It's like it's like having a certain kind of car or a certain kind of cooking oil in a set on a movie, but it is advertising.
And it does influence the kids.
And kids see it, and that's why we're trying to get it up to rated R. So kids under 18 don't see it, and then they'll have a less chance of smoking when they get older and smoking as they're teens.
Every little bit counts.
That's right, and our kids are doing a great job putting their part in.
Thanks
Good job.
so much for being here, guys. This is wonderful.
Thank you for stopping.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully nobody was hurt when it happened and no cows panicked, but the tent fell down. The judging tent fell down, and we hope everybody's okay. It's, you know, the winds have been gusting, I would guess, 15 to 20 miles an hour, maybe even higher gusts here. We haven't felt like it's a bad thing because it helps to mitigate the 80, 85 degree temperatures that we've had here today. It looks like everybody has escaped, and they're tying everything down strongly, but it's you know, that acts like a sail, Calvin.
Yeah.
You get a gusty wind blowing through, right?
Yeah, and the winds are so strong today that we noticed that the windmills up in Cherubusco and the edge of Ellenburg there aren't turning. At least they weren't turning when we came down here today.
I noticed
so
that too. And
there's too much wind; they won't turn them. But so gusts like that, you can see. And look at all the guys that came rushing over to.
They did a good job, boy. I tell you, these farm people know how to handle emergencies, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, they're tying it up and pulling it down and making sure that everything's good and tight. I'm not sure how much more of the judging there is going on here today, but it has been, so far at least for us, a spectacular day. And here in Northern Adirondack Central School, toward the end of May 2009, I think we've been able to tell some stories that we didn't tell before, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's always nice, and you know, you see these kids, and you come back year after year, and they're a year older. Then all of a sudden, they're the adult coming here. And I remember one of the first shows we did as far as the NAC job fair they used to have.
Oh yeah.
And that little Watts girl came over and said she wanted to be a reporter someday. Well, she's long gone now. She graduated a couple of years ago from school here, so she's, you know, time marches on.
And we did make, it was very important for us to interview the 4-H kids and the FFA kids way back when I started doing this show with you.
Yep.
Those are the days when Bernie Bassett was here.
Yep.
And he's moved beyond Northern Adirondack, that's for sure. It's great to see the kids grow up, and wouldn't it be nice to go back and find out which ones really did make it into whatever school they said they were planning to go to.
She's still learning, the Watts girl, but you know, look at this here, a kid running with a sledgehammer.
Oh, that's great. It takes some talent to run with a sledgehammer all by itself, doesn't it, huh?
The first year, the previous ag teacher from previous to Don here, not the lady who was substituting last year, but the one before, her first year here, they had a young heifer that Actually, about a 1.5-year-old heifer that took off and took a couple weeks.
I remember you telling me that.
That was her initiation. So this is Don's initiation. The tent blows down. So.
It's better than monkeys coming down across the border, though, right? Well, I'm not sure that we could swim laps in it, but it's longer than my body. And where we talked to Don Jones in the beginning of our program today, he mentioned the students building a 1,000-gallon fish tank. And that is what this is, with the full rocks on the bottom and everything. This is beautiful. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if next year when we come, in 2010, that it's full of water with little fishies swimming around. We still have some fish to find here, Calvin, so we have to be off and looking for them, right?
That's right.
All right.
One of the ways the FFA makes money every year, Gordy, is they set up a little food booth here, and it's a very popular item, as we saw over at the, the reality check booth, the sodas and the burgers and the Michigans. And
it sure is. Well, everybody makes you hungry to go around to look at all these demonstrations and displays. These guys are flipping burgers like it's going out of style with the wind that we have here today. If you had charcoal in there, you're liable to have to get that fire department around the corner.
Nothing like looking at a smoked lung to make you feel hungry, though, Gordy.
Oh, yes. I may never forget touching those things. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. Well, it looks like they did a pretty good job getting the tent back up, Calvin. It looks secure. One corner's a little low. I think maybe the post broke. What do you think?
Definitely the post came out. Whether it broke or not, I don't know. But it looks like they had to replace it, so good possibility that it did break.
It looks pretty solid now, so I think we're going to be okay for the duration.
As we're taping this, in about a week to 10 days, there's going to be a 3D movie coming out about an old guy. It's an animation movie where he's got about 1,000 balloons on his house and he goes for a ride.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
I was thinking of that movie when I saw that tent about to take off.
I think it would only take about 900 balloons today, or maybe less. Balloons full of water, that's what they are. I bet you never did that in your life before, did you, Calvin?
I'd want warm water in those balloons, Gordy.
Okay. Yes, I would today.
This is just the opposite of the dunking booth here. You get dunked instead of falling into the water falls on you.
And you get so many you get 3 throws. I think 3. He's got red ones. He's ready to toss.
That wind's gonna affect your pitch a bit.
Gotta be a factor. Although those kids are wet, so I don't know. Somebody must be getting through. Where's Jabba when we need him, right?
He's pitching tonight.
Oh, yeah, I know he is. Oh, you gotta. Oh, that's close. Oh, wait a minute. There goes.
Okay, Gordy's hat is Gone with the Wind, starring Rhett Butler and Gordy Little.
Good. Now I should say, where's Margaret Mitchell when Gone with the Wind? Boy, I tell you, they're getting close. Up. Okay, boy, that kid's got another $1. He's getting mad now. I think they saw him coming. Oh, boy. That looked like about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
A triple dunker here.
The one at the bottom can't get out as she wanted to now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. I think I would need 6 for $1, and I hope I have a pocket full of money. Oh, wait a minute. I think that's so close. I think he hit it, but it didn't break. Oh no! I'm not sure how that worked, but
he hit it. It just didn't trip.
It didn't trip.
So
delayed reaction, huh?
Legalities of it, you have to trip it because you earned
the pitch burst.
You earned it.
I think that's a cute idea. Oh, there's one that's got a lot of water in it. I want to see. Look at the one they're putting in there now. Oh yeah.
You know, having a celebrity up there like yourself, Gordy, would probably really generate a lot of interest.
Sometimes you talk way too much. You know that?
Hey, whoa, what's going on?
Oh God.
I had the pleasure of sitting briefly in a Dunkin' booth in Moores at Labor Day when one year, a few years back, and that was the dirtiest water.
It was awful, especially after the 14th dunk, huh? Oh, no.
I stayed for one dunk, and that was it.
That was it, huh? Oh, no. How'd that happen? He didn't even throw one.
Yes, must be.
I think the wind. You got a bad factor here. I hope they brought some other clothes to school with them today.
I hope so.
Oh. Well, Don Jones, we've come full circle. We talked about the small fry, and here they are. Tell me about this project.
This is working with Trout Unlimited, and what they did is, if you look over there behind the computer monitor, we actually have a chiller, and it cools the water down. So when this starts, the water's about 37 degrees. And then you gradually raise it up to what the temperature of the rivers are when we release them. We started out with 120. We probably got about 108 or 9. So we had a pretty high survival rate on them. But this is just what they are. They're growing up. The rocks are there because we just dump the eggs right in the rocks, and they use it as natural cover. And this way, when they get out in the wild, they're not completely shell-shocked as to what to do.
So when will you take them out of here?
As soon as this fair is over and I get permits from the DEC.
Oh, I'm sure you have to do it legally, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where the eggs originally came from. They work with Trout Unlimited, and we raise them up as an educational component, and then we have to go through the permitting process to release them.
You know, not that I wouldn't take your complete word for it, but everybody we've talked to today has high praise for what you've done in the short time you've been here. And that's got to make you feel pretty good.
That makes me feel really good, thank you.
Well, you've worked hard at it. Everybody's talking about how you want to expand this program.
Well, there's either two ways things go, and it's either expanding or it's declining. There's not a lot of room for stability, so you're either making it grow or it's going down. And I'm not one of those people who like to go down.
Well, are you happy with the way this has turned out so far today?
Oh, absolutely, it's a great start. It's very stressful. I mean, there's just a lot going on, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you can take it. Sweating is good when it's 85 degrees.
Well, that means I'm alive.
A rainy day, but it turned out very, very well.
No, it's a very great day, and everybody participated in the ambulances here, and I'm very happy with Trout Unlimited and everybody else who just decided to bring things up and celebrate what we're doing here. It's an amazing thing, and it's a build-up of the year. You know, the kids look forward to it from September, and it's a great way to draw kids into the program and just keep things moving forward.
Is there enough funding in the budget to keep your program going for a long time?
Yeah, I've got nothing but support from the board. The new administrator has been amazing. She was up here earlier. The principal's been amazing at finding us money when it's outside of the budget stuff. So I've got no complaints, and I don't see any threat to the program.
I think the constituency in this area understands how important this program is. I think Calvin should take a little bit of the credit for doing this program every year. People see this and they say, wow.
I definitely want to thank Calvin and you for coming every year and all the other things that you guys do. You know, besides this, I know you guys are here every other day, so
we're just thrilled,
celebrate the community.
Thrilled and delighted to do this and to promote a program that is worthwhile because it involves kids.
Yeah.
And our special thanks to all the parents who are behind your program and behind their kids when they come to show here or when they come to go to school for your program.
Absolutely.
You're the best, Don.
Don't go that far.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything you do.
Thanks, Gordy.
I can't think of any better way to close the program today than to talk to four of the most important people here. How are you?
Good.
Let me see the cheek. That's a green heart, yellow heart, green heart, yellow heart. Did you figure that out?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful pattern. What's your name?
Samantha Morrow.
And?
Coriana.
Were you helping her with her name? Is that what that was all about?
Yeah.
She didn't forget. Who are you?
Caitlin Connor. Cece.
Hi, Caitlin. How are you?
Good.
Good. And you are?
Katie Finelson.
And you all go to school here?
Yep. Yes.
All in the same grade?
Yep.
What grade?
6th grade.
And who's your teacher?
Miss Blaze and Miss Ryle. She's the best teacher ever.
The best teacher ever?
Miss Blaze, if you see this, come to NAC.
I think that's important. Well, what do you think about this FFA Fair?
It's good. It's fun.
Do you remember last year's?
Yes. No. I was in 5th grade. I didn't remember.
Yeah, we were in the little school.
I wasn't here that time. I'm new. She came this year.
She knew.
Yeah.
She's my best friend too.
Did you move here from somewhere else?
Yeah, I moved from Peru school.
This is pretty nice country down here.
Yeah.
You weren't here when the tent fell down a while ago, though,
Yeah,
were
we
ya?
seen it. Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah.
Don't let your teacher say we seen it, because you're supposed to say we saw it. So what do you like best about this whole thing?
Well, we get to come out of class. And Mountain Dew. And the food. And the food,
The animals and Mountain Dew.
Especially the Mountain Dew.
Especially, Calvin would agree with you there. None of you brought cattle here today, though, right?
No. I'm a farmer, though.
Huh?
I said I am a farmer, though.
Oh, really?
I brought my best friends. That's what's important to me. Yep. Yeah, me too. Yep.
You know what? That's important to everybody.
Yeah,
What would we ever do without best friends?
We'd be lonely.
I bet you, all the 4 of you, do not know one song. Do you know any song that you sing together? Hey, that's pretty good. You know what? I hope you all have the best day of your lives today.
You too. We're late. Bye.
Tomorrow's even better. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Well, just tell them it's our fault. I'm sure that'll carry some weight. Hi, kids. Hi. What's your name?
Abby.
And you are?
Ashley.
What's your last name?
Brown.
And?
Eero.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
This is, I don't know how long that might take to get that out of your face. That's about the thickest face painting I've ever seen in my life. Almost looks like you got a bloody nose. What grade are you guys in?
5th.
5th grade? How come you're taller than the 6th graders? That just happened, didn't it, huh?
Yeah.
So you're having a good day.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm pleased to meet you. Have a wonderful afternoon, will you? Have a terrific summer. Bye-bye. And who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.